So, I disappear from the internet for 24 hours, and the gaming news keeps getting crazier. We got a new console PC hybrid announcement from Valve called the Steam Machine. Again, we got a new Horizon MMO announcement from Sony. We got Red Dead Redemption 1 announced for PS5 and Switch 2. We got Phil Spencer out here praising the new Steam box and saying the PlayStation 5 DualSense is much better than Xbox's controller. We got Arc Raiders completely obliterating the charts yet again, while Battlefield 6's player count just took a nosedive. This is going to be an insane video, so buckle up, smash that like button, and get comfortable, because we've got a bumpy ride ahead of us. Alright, so this one honestly put a smile on my face, because PlayStation just went full victory lap mode, and honestly, they earned it. The PS5 just hit its 5-year anniversary, and Sony dropped this massive, look how far we've come breakdown. And when you go through it year by year, you really start to see just how much this console evolved. Like, this thing launched fast, but it grew into a monster. So let's rewind to 2020, when PS5 first dropped. That was the moment gaming genuinely felt different. That SSD, the 3D audio, the DualSense. It was the first time a console didn't just run games better, it changed how they felt. Share screen became a thing, and people used it almost 1 billion hours worth. Accessibility was a huge focus from day one, and by now, the console has doubled its accessibility features. Even the tiny micro-texture PlayStation symbols on the controller became iconic. That detail alone sums up the PS5's whole vibe. Fast, thoughtful, creative. Then, 2021 rolls in, and the PS5 starts expanding like crazy. We finally got SharePlay across generations, so people on PS5 could literally hand off a game to friends on PS4. The M.2 SSD support dropped too, and millions of players immediately boosted their storage. People started sending captures through the PlayStation app, and overnight, half the DMs on PlayStation moved to mobile. And of course, Sony dropped the first color variants. Midnight Black was the moment a lot of people went, okay, this thing finally looks sexy. 2022 was the year PS5 became more customizable, more flexible, and low-key more powerful for a lot of players. VRR arrived, which basically smoothed out gameplay for anyone with the right display. And this was when PlayStation Plus became the 3-tier subscription service. With the game catalog and the classics catalog, it immediately doubled the number of people using it. Plus, they dropped the Galaxy-themed colors, and suddenly everyone's DualSense looked like it came out of a nebula. Then 2023 hit, and Sony just unloaded hardware like crazy. PSVR 2 dropped, and honestly, it's still one of the cleanest VR headsets you can buy. Discord voice chat finally came to the console, and now we know PS5 players have already racked up over 1 billion Discord sessions. The PS Portal released and immediately became a remote play beast, accounting for more than half of all remote play sessions. DualSense Edge arrived for competitive players, and the Access controller launched so more people than ever can play comfortably. And cloud streaming for PS5 games kicked off for premium members, making libraries easier to access than ever. Oh, and they dropped PlayStation Link audio with those high-end Pulse earbuds and headsets. By 2024, PS5 wasn't just evolving, it was starting to feel like a full ecosystem. Community game help launched, so players can help other players with hints straight from their own gameplay. The new Welcome Hub became your personalized home screen, with widgets, backgrounds, stats, all that good stuff. And then came the big one, PS5 Pro, the absolute tank of a mid-gen refresh. Add in the 30th anniversary collection, and 2024 really felt like PlayStation, celebrating its legacy while flexing the future. And now, here we are, 5 years in, 84 million PS5s sold, enough to stretch almost across the planet. Over 7,500 games from 4,000 creators. The top multiplayer games, Fortnite, GTA 5, and Modern Warfare 2. Top single player, Valhalla, Ragnarok, and Hogwarts Legacy. Players earned 40 billion trophies, including 110 million platinums, and collectively, we've played 100 200 billion hours on this thing. It's wild. PS5 launched strong, but over 5 years, it turned into this massive, evolving platform that's still growing. And hearing Sony say all this, you can tell they're proud, but also nowhere near done. The console keeps changing, the features keep stacking, and the community just keeps getting bigger. 5 years in, the PS5 genuinely feels like the heart of modern gaming. And honestly, the journey's only getting started. Let's talk about the PS Portal, because this thing keeps surprising everyone, including the people who swore they'd never touch it. And honestly, it's kind of hilarious how the narrative did a full 180. So here's the deal. The PS Portal was built for one job, right? Remote play. That's literally its entire identity. So the fact that it became the #1 device for remote play, even beating phones, PCs, PS4, and even the PS5 itself, yeah, that checks out. But at the same time, it also shows just how massive this thing quietly became. We're talking about an accessory that now sits in the hands of 5% of all PS5 owners in the US. That is not a small number. That's millions of people choosing to add a whole extra screen just to play their PlayStation differently. And then Sony went, hey, let's make this thing even more ridiculous and drop the premium cloud streaming update. Now you don't even need a PS5. You just fire up the Portal and boom, over 2,800 games are instantly playable through cloud streaming. So this little thing went from being a companion to basically being a mini PlayStation of its own. Then, Takuro Fushimi from Sony talked to TechRadar and dropped the big bomb. Portal users are way more engaged than people who don't own one. They're playing more, logging in more, using remote play more, everything. And again, you can say, well, yeah, obviously, but still, the numbers don't lie. This accessory wasn't just a hit, it kind of became the remote play machine. Now here's the part that cracks me up. Before launch, Push Square did a poll in 2023 with almost 6,000 people, and 60% said they had no plans to buy the Portal. A solid chunk straight up said zero interest, like absolutely not, keep that thing away from me. Fast forward to today, they ran the same poll again, and suddenly 51% of their audience owns one, and 32% of them use it at least once a week. That is not just a turnaround, that's a plot. So let me just lay this out straight, because this whole PS5 versus tiny Steambox argument keeps getting twisted into something it really isn't. People see Zen 4, RDNA 3, and immediately start foaming at the mouth like next gen destroys console, pack it up, PS5 is finished. And on paper, yeah, it sounds spicy. Newer CPU, newer GPU architecture, small cube on your desk doing party tricks with FSR, but the second you step out of spec sheet fantasy land and into actual living room reality, the PS5 just walks up and quietly wins the fight. The reason is simple: memory. The PS5 has 16 gigs of unified GDDR6. CPU and GPU drink from the same pool at very high bandwidth, with a system that was built from day one around that layout. Developers know exactly how much they have to work with. They can budget it aggressively, and they are targeting one fixed machine. That is a dream scenario for game development. You get stability, you get consistency, and you can squeeze every last drop out of the hardware across an entire generation. Now look at this little Steam machine. 8 gigs of VRAM on the GPU. That is the choke point. I do not care how efficient RDNA 3 is or how shiny the marketing is. You slam modern textures, higher resolutions, and ray tracing into 8 gigs, and it taps out incredibly fast. That is just how modern games are built now. Big assets, high resolution, heavy effects. You can bandage it with FSR. You can render at 1080p or 1440p internally, upscale to 4K, sharpen it, and in a lot of cases, it will look good. That is the clever part. But it does not change the hard limit. Once the VRAM is full, you are done. Stutters pop in, aggressive cuts to texture quality, everything starts falling apart. So you have this weird situation where the architecture is technically newer, but the actual experience is boxed in by that 8 gig ceiling. Meanwhile, the PS5 is over here with a bigger pool, a fixed target, and games that are literally built around that exact hardware. Developers are not guessing. They know exactly how far they can push geometry, textures, effects, and streaming. That is why you still see PS5 pulling off really solid-looking 4K modes, quality modes, and even some surprisingly clean ray tracing results years into the generation. Then there is the CPU CPU side, which is where people love to hype up the Steam box. 6 cores of Zen 4 is no joke. It is faster per core, way more efficient, and in a lot of scenarios, it absolutely beats 8 Zen 2 cores. That is true. But here's the part nobody wants to admit. For most console-style gaming at 60 frames per second, the CPU is not the main thing holding you back. 9 times out of 10, you are up against GPU and memory limits. Not, oh no, my Zen 2 cores are crying. So yes, the little Steam Cube wins the efficiency contest. It is cooler, smaller, and technically smarter under the hood. But when you sit down in front of a TV and start judging it as a main machine, the PS5 still gives you the better experience in most modern big-budget games, simply because it is not suffocating under VRAM limits. So Chris Sides, the former Bungie director who worked on Marathon for years, basically came out and said, yeah, this whole genre name, it sucks. And honestly, he didn't hold back at all. He said he literally begged Bungie's marketing team to ditch the term extraction shooter when they were working on Marathon, because the name is, his words, so dumb. And you know what? He's kinda right. It's the only genre named after a mechanic. Imagine if we called Battle Royale games closing circle shooters, or fighting games button mashers. It makes no sense, and the genre is already messy enough as it is. And here's where it gets interesting. He explains that the label doesn't actually describe what these games are. Like, technically Helldivers 2 has extractions, but nobody in their right mind would call that an extraction shooter. It's not Tarkov. It's not Arena Breakout. It's not even close. So when you slap one mechanic on an entire genre, suddenly it becomes impossible to compare anything properly. Sides goes even deeper, saying the whole genre doesn't even know what it wants to be yet. Tarkov and Arena Breakout? Yeah, those are in the same lane. But Arc Raiders? He said, comparing that to Tarkov is like comparing broccoli to a motorcycle. Doesn't fit. He said Arc Raiders is closer to something like Rust, which opens another can of worms, because is Rust an extraction shooter? No. Probably. Maybe. This is exactly the problem he's talking about. And what makes this even funnier is Arc Raiders just blew up the entire Steam charts with nearly 500,000 concurrent players, which is insane. The genre is exploding, but nobody can agree on what the genre even is. Meanwhile, Bungie is still out here calling Marathon a team-based extraction shooter, even though their own director was like, guys, please, anything else. He also revealed that when he was at Bungie, they were studying Arc Raiders years ago, and he straight up said the game has gotten way better since then. So yeah, these studios are absolutely watching each other. But the real takeaway here, the genre is booming, the games are awesome, but nobody, including the developers, knows what the hell to actually call it. So here's the situation. A few months ago, everyone, me included, was worried Arc Raiders was about to get Titanfall 2'd. You know exactly what that means. Battlefield drops, and anything standing next to it gets flattened like a soda can. That's the Battlefield effect. It happened before. It's why Titanfall 2, one of the best shooters ever made, got buried alive between Battlefield and Call of Duty. So when Battlefield 6 was gearing up, I genuinely thought, damn, Arc Raiders picked the worst possible weekend to exist. But then, reality slapped all of us in the face. Arc Raiders didn't just survive, it thrived, it dominated. It absolutely embarrassed Battlefield 6. Look at those numbers. Arc Raiders sitting at 258,400 plus players. So what happened? Why did Arc Raiders suddenly become the king of the moment while a legendary franchise is struggling to stay above water? Well, there's a few reasons. First, Arc Raiders just clicked with people. It landed at the perfect time, hit the perfect vibe, and actually delivered on the things players care about right now. Fun, chaos, co-op moments you can't get anywhere else, and a fresh energy the shooter genre desperately needed. When that gameplay loop hits, it hits. And the word of mouth, insane. Every platform, every YouTuber, every streamer was talking about it. EA just can't catch a break. When you launch a Battlefield, players expect magic, not we'll fix it later. Not anymore. People have become allergic to promises. They want a finished game, day one. So the moment performance issues popped up, the moment server problems showed up, or the moment the game didn't feel Battlefield enough, fans dip fast. Third, this generation is different. People don't chase brand names anymore. They chase vibes. They chase fun. Arc Raiders delivered fun. Battlefield delivered give us time. And guess what? Players don't give time. They move on. So now we're watching something we haven't seen in a very long time. A brand new IP completely clapping a massive blockbuster franchise on pure momentum and player love. And the craziest part? Arc Raiders was supposed to be the underdog, but it's not. Not anymore. It's the main event. It's the show. It's the game the entire shooter community is talking about. Meanwhile, Battlefield 6 is out here basically reenacting Titanfall 2's funeral, except this time, it's not the victim. It's the one getting overshadowed. It's poetic. It's hilarious. And honestly, it's kind of refreshing. People don't care about how big your franchise is. They care about whether your game is actually good, actually exciting, actually worth their time. Let's talk about Horizon Steel Frontiers, because this thing is wild. Sony and NCSoft basically woke up and said, yeah, let's turn Horizon into a full-blown MMORPG. And oh, by the way, it's on PC and mobile. And I know what you're thinking, right? Mobile? Horizon? Trust me, I had the same mini panic attack. But the more I looked into it, the more it actually started to make sense. So here's the deal. This game takes place in a brand new region called the Deathlands. Think Arizona and New Mexico if they got swallowed by robot dinosaurs. Huge deserts, old world ruins sticking out of the sand, giant machines roaming around like they own the place. And instead of playing as Aloy, you make your own machine hunter. Finally, right? You can look like a Karja warrior, a Nora scout, a Tinak fighter, whatever. And yes, the character creator looks insane. The combat? Bro, it's Horizon, but dialed up for multiplayer chaos. You've still got weak points, you've still got traps, but now you can literally grapple onto a machine, mid-fight, plant explosives on its back, jump off, and let 20 other players blast the thing apart. And the best part? When a machine drops one of those huge cannons, you can pick it up, mount it on your ride, and carry that thing into the next battle. It's like Monster Hunter meets Horizon meets pure MMO insanity. And speaking of insanity, this game has massive raids. Not 4 players, not 8 players. We're talking big-ass open-world battles where entire groups pile on a Thunderjaw or try to bring down a Stormbird the size of a building. Everyone's got a role. Some people tank, some people craft traps, some people are zipping around with the polecaster trying not to get deleted. But the vibe is clear. It's chaotic, it's loud, and it actually looks fun. Now, the world itself? It's not just open, it's alive. Thousands of players in the same shared world. Sometimes you're helping each other. Sometimes you're competing for machine parts or resources. And NCSoft flat out said this isn't a linear story experience like the single-player games. It's a survival frontier. It's you, your tribe, your gear, and whatever giant metal nightmare is walking over the next hill. And I'll be real with you, the exploration looks amazing. You can ride ground mounts, you can ride flying mounts, you can climb tall necks again, you can swing around with the grappling hook like you're in an anime. There are dungeons, puzzles, hidden areas, huge events, all that MMO stuff. Imagine logging in and seeing a giant machine migrating across the desert with 40 players chasing after it on chargers. That's the energy. Now, development-wise, this game has been cooking since like 2021. NCSoft is leading it, but Guerrilla is supervising the world, the lore, the art direction. Jan Bart van Beek from Guerrilla is literally in the dev diaries saying they're keeping it off the visuals for a mobile-first game. It's kinda insane. The PC version obviously looks the best, but even the mobile footage looks better than half the stuff on the Switch. And yes, here comes the elephant in the room. It's free to play. So we already know there will be cosmetics, battle passes, all that. They haven't shown the monetization yet, which could be good or bad, but for now it's F2P, crossplay, cross-progression, one single and it all syncs release date, nothing confirmed yet. But the game looks far enough along that a beta in 2026 wouldn't surprise me. All right, so check this out, because this one kind of came out of nowhere. We've been sitting here for 4 years since Rift Apart, waiting for that next big Ratchet and Clank moment on PS5, right? And knowing Insomniac, you'd think we'd already have a teaser, a logo, something, but nope. Instead, Sony hits us with this curveball. The next Ratchet and Clank game is dropping on iOS and Android. Yeah, mobile. I know. It's called Ratchet and Clank Ranger Rumble, and it's basically a fast, chaotic multiplayer shooter made by a mobile studio called OBB, not Insomniac. And the funniest part? It's already out in some countries. Like, you might wake up tomorrow and randomly have before you have it on your PS5. Wild times. From what we've seen, it actually looks pretty colorful, kind of frantic, and still has that platforming DNA. You get a bunch of weapons, abilities, characters, and even different modes. There's one mode that's basically Ratchet and Clank rocket-powered soccer. It's free to play. So yeah, microtransactions are almost guaranteed, but at least you can customize your character so you don't look like a default skin running in circles. And honestly, this isn't even the first time the series dipped into mobile. Way back in 2005, we got Going Mobile, before iPhones even existed. Then before the Nexus showed up in 2013 as one of those endless runner-style games. And there was even a full sequel called Clone Home that got canceled, but fans literally found it on some random Java phone, cracked the encryption, and resurrected it like it was some forbidden lost media. Absolute madness.
My name's John Marston.
So here's something I never imagined I'd say in 2025. We got Red Dead Redemption 1 on iPhone before we got GTA 6. So, December 2nd, 2025. That's finally the day we get the version of Red Dead Redemption 1. The one we've been begging Rockstar for since forever. And honestly, it kind of feels like they're trying to make up for everything that went wrong in 2023. Remember that $50 remaster that was basically just the PS3 game with a fresh coat of stress? Yeah, this is their apology tour. They're launching it everywhere. And I mean everywhere. PS5, Series X, Series S, Switch 2, iOS, Android, Netflix games, your fridge, probably your toaster. The PC version already hit back in October 2024, so they could cash in on the enthusiast crowd first. But here's the part that genuinely shocked me. It's a free upgrade for anyone who already owns the digital PS4 version or the old Xbox release. You can even bring your saves over. That alone tells you Rockstar knows they messed up. They're basically saying, hey, sorry about the 2023 thing. Please like us again. Now, what are we actually getting? The target is simple: native 4K and a locked 60 FPS on PS5 and Xbox Series. And that's a big deal. But here's the real question I can't stop thinking about. Is this actually a remaster, or is it just a better wrapper with a shiny bow? Because the 2023 port, even after the PS5 60 FPS patch, still had two issues that drove people insane. That blurry 720p UI glued onto a 4K image, and those jittery cutscenes that looked like the game was dropping frames on purpose. If Rockstar doesn't fix those in this native version, then let's be honest, this isn't really a remaster. It's a performance patch pretending to be a remaster. The strategy behind this is also kind of wild. They're launching it directly into the PlayStation Plus game catalog. They're not chasing $60 sales this time, they're chasing exposure. They want millions of people playing it instantly and forgetting how annoyed they were last year. Smart move. And the mobile side? They're dumping it straight into Netflix games. No extra charge as long as you have Netflix. That's Rockstar's way of saying, yeah, we want this game literally everywhere. They want the Red Dead name in front of people who don't even own a console. But yeah, let's rip the band-aid off. Multiplayer is gone. Again. They skipped it in 2023 and they're skipping it now. And one more thing. If they're giving RDR1 a free 60 FPS upgrade right now, you can bet your entire digital library that whenever they do Red Dead Redemption 2, that one won't be free. That's going to be a premium, shiny, big boy upgrade. And the goodwill from this RDR1 release is going to make people way more willing to pay for it.